Yeah, start. Sure. Hello,
Should
everyone, if
what?
anyone can hear us.
Livestream is starting soon. Is there a different link? Is there now something else that we have to click on?
Oh, let me go view on watch page.
We have to give people another link.
We're live.
Hello, everyone, if
What?
anyone
Oh,
can
wait.
hear
Hello.
us.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Livestream is starting soon. All right.
I heard myself.
We are live now. Hello, people.
So yeah, we are live. So hello everyone. This is Gantry 401 third update as a live stream.
And we're still having some trouble with the video, but we were finally able to connect. So, at least for now, until I get that working, we should be able to answer questions, which was the main point we wanted to do with this live stream. So, if anyone has any questions for us, we can start that while I try to work out the other problems.
Yes, we appreciate your patience. Things are getting really odd and strange. We don't know why these problems were happening. Oh, good. They can hear us. That's
Awesome.
good. That's always a good thing. Yes, we know there is no picture. ZB is currently working on that.
Yes.
We were at least trying to get the stream started so that you guys can, we can answer some questions if you had any right now. Although no one's asking any questions at the moment, so I know that someone had asked me before, and I'm sure a lot of you want to might be curious about this being how we did the hull, because I know that seems like it's a very complex thing. So I'll give you. I can probably go over a brief, briefly how we did it. Basically, what we did is we had three different plans. If you can imagine an X, Y, and a Z axis. So one of the sides was obviously the deck plans. So we had traced that out. And another view was the bulkheads. So that was your other axis. And the third one would have been something called the lines plan, which is kind of like if you can imagine, because of the way it's basically the third axis. It's kind of hard to explain, but they're lines. They're kind of curved, and we traced that out. And after we did that, after we built all of those, we had then kind of gone in there and filled it in, going from line to line. And then as we worked back, kind of slowly had to change things until it kind of looked until it fit into place. And now every line didn't exactly fit into place, but that was what we expected. And once we kind of did all that, we kind of molded everything like we explained in the Stern hull update video about that, how we kind of molded everything into the shape itself. And as for the bottom of the ship, we had to do an entirely different something entirely new for that, because the lines get so close together that it becomes very difficult to trace out. So we ended up having to do is use the bulkheads and plot out each of the points. And then ZB had gone into Adobe Illustrator and kind of attached the points together using lines and had bent them and curved them until they all looked correct. And then we actually built that, and that gave us the base of that. So that was kind of a brief and probably not really great explanation, but as best as I can do. So someone asked, Jeremy O'Brien asked, what's the scale of the build to the real thing? Anyone want to?
Either one of you could answer that question. It's pretty straightforward.
Mr. D?
What?
Jeremy O'Brien asks, what's the scale of the build to the real thing?
Well, actually, it depends, because if you will take the scale that one block is a cube with 25 centimeters line, Then there is a 4:1 scale. So the thing is 4 times bigger than how it should be.
Hmm. If you were to take what we consider Minecraft to be a 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter cube, then our ship on the large scale is we take that cube, and that 1 meter cube now represents only a quarter of a meter. So every block of the ship is only representing 0.25 of what it did originally in the regular 1-to-1 scale. So that's why the ship itself expands and becomes much larger.
We actually missed a question. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Cruisercraft asks, "Have you done the grand staircase yet?"
Um, so
Go
we
ahead.
actually have done some base models. Deadkoalas had actually taken the blueprints that we're using and made a very basic shape and scale, size, very bland, kind of just bare bones shape of the grand staircase. And so we've taken each one of those and we've all each on our own kind of worked on our own unique one. But once we get to actually building the grand staircase in the ship, which we haven't gotten to that point yet, we're going to go through the ones that we have built, kind of take the best of each one, kind of get our own interpretations of each thing. Because the interesting thing is, you're able to look at photos of the ship, you're able to look at the plans, but then everything you see, it can be represented differently. So we're going to be taking each thing and putting it into the final one, which will hopefully be the most impressive when we get on the final.
Hopefully, we're gonna get some picture in there soon, so we can actually show things and make this a proper update video as opposed to just answering
Yeah,
questions.
I'm still trying to get that to work.
It's all right. We have another question here. Wang Studies World asks us, "How long have it take to build it?"
The problem is
Well,
that we have not finished this yet, so it's a work in progress.
so far, it's taken us over a year
Year
and
and
a
a half,
half.
yeah.
Um, that's I would attribute that to being um, mostly because of just scheduling. Like we were all busy. We're all school and work, and it's nice to work with someone because working by yourself, like yeah, we can, but when you're working with someone, you can like get a an idea of like what they want to do, and it helps. So we like to try and work together. Uh, on certain things, also because ZB has the plans traced out, so it's nice to have him working with us, especially when we're doing rooms. But that's most of the reason why it's taking us so long. But now that we're actually working on decks, as you'll see, we're getting very close to finishing up Orlop. So we going through that pretty fast, and we'll actually get to some interesting things like third classrooms. All right, Cameron Millar is asking us any predictions on when it's going to be finished.
Well, kind of extrapolating from what we've gotten done so far and what we know. Right now, our progress is between finishing up Tank Top. Mr. D and Pepsi have been doing a great job getting the engines finalized, redoing a couple of details on the boilers, getting the pipes in, which takes a long time because there's one, it's hard to find information, and two, once you have the information you need, you can't really fit everything in that you'd expect, even in 4-to-1 scale. So there's a lot of tough decisions that need to be made on where things go, how they'll go from place to place, trying to get as much in as we can. And then, so just kind of extrapolating, knowing that tank top and orlop and G-deck, all those bottom layers of the ship, and then doing the hull, all the things we've gotten done up until this point take a lot of time, whereas compared to once we get beyond those decks, get beyond the structure, get beyond these very unique, more difficult things to interpret and put into the ship. Probably, it's been a year and a half now, and we've already gotten through Orlop deck and most of G deck with the cargo. So I would say we're probably looking at another 2 years to 2 to 3 years, I would say, before everything on the interior is as complete as we can get it. And then for Southampton, probably a lot of that will be started at the same time. Like that'll be worked on as we're finishing the ship, getting the warehouses in place, getting the White Star Ocean Dock up to a presentable level for videos. And then after that, it'll be working on Southampton. But that's in the future. Right now, we're just working on the ship for the most part.
Yeah. I see we have our logo up there now. That's better than a blank screen.
Yeah, that's what I got working right now.
Better than nothing. We still have
Still
more
working on other
questions,
things.
so that's good. I guess we kind of answered this one, but Cruisercraft again asks us, what is Southampton like now? Right now, it's just traced. There's
Yep.
not much really about it. It's just kind of literally ZB had just traced out the lines and everything, and we built the lines. So right now, it's just a diamond pattern on the ground.
Yeah, from multiple plans layered one on top of each other, just trying to get as much of Southampton covered as I could, as much as we need. So if you can imagine all of the border between the water and the dock itself, all of that has been traced out. And then we do have the two White Star warehouses also put in gold right now, also outlined their correct size and shape. And in the future, we'll be doing the other buildings and stuff, getting those outlined.
Yeah, the buildings in the background from Southampton are just going to be facades.
The only
Since-
ones you'll really be able to go into with the interior is going to be the ones you would be right up next to Titanic that you would need to enter to be able to board the ship from the upper levels.
Right.
Oh,
Jeremy
okay.
O'Brien. Go ahead.
Okay, let's go first. You started something.
Oh, I was Jeremy O'Brien said, I can't believe the amount of detail. It's ridiculous. Thank you. It's flattering, I suppose, but it's I don't know. I think it's not that ridiculous considering we'd have to do it really, but a lot of the stuff we look at as honor and glory for a lot of our references, since as of right now they're the best we have.
The best for a lot of interior spaces.
Right. Let's see. Next, Keanu Dobo, hope I'm pronouncing that right, asks us, how long do you spend building per session? And does this overlap with, if it still exists, the airport project? So ZB,
I think that this is a ZBLDS question.
Okay, so me personally, when I work on the ship, normally I'll work with Matt most of the time, and usually it's a little bit later at night. So we usually get a good 3 to 4 hours in whenever we work, and that happens generally for 3 or 4 times a week, depending on how busy we are. We try to get in as much as we can. And yes, that does overlap with the airport project. For some of you who are in here who also know of my Aerospace Cube project, that is being done basically when I'm not working on the ship, which has become more recent. And I work on the ship a lot more than I've been able to in the past because now that school's out. And then it does also overlap with everything else I'm doing outside of YouTube and the ship and the airport. But the airport is still going. It's just right now I'm doing the planes, and that's what the Aerospace Cube project is. It's just kind of the revival of that older airport project. And then I can't answer for Mr. D and Pepsi how long you guys work generally when you work, because you work on a different schedule.
Well, it depends on how much free time we have, but usually it's 4 to 6 hours. Depends on the day.
All right, so that's a little longer than us, ZP and me, but
But you need to remember that our main point of interest is the tank top deck, the machinery spaces, boilers rooms, engine rooms, and all things that are inside those rooms. So you need to remember that those spaces are extremely detailed, and they require to build an unique models that you cannot use in any other place on the ship. So it's really a huge effort to recreate these rooms in every detail that we are able to recreate on the ship.
All right. So let's see. Zach Colley is asking us two questions. How long did it take to finish the hull, and what plans have you used, and where did you find them? Well, how long did it take us to do the hull? About
For the bow,
like-
it took us, I think,
a couple months.
2 or 3 months. And
Well,
then,
the first time we did the bow,
right,
it took us
I'm
like 2 or
getting
3
to that,
months.
yeah. So the first time we did the bow, it took us, I would say 2.5 months to do it between planning and then when we considered it done. Once we got to the flat sides of the hull, and that was very easy to do, and then we could just work all that back to the stern. That took 2.5 months. And then we started to do the stern, and we started working on that in much the same way. That took a lot longer. I worked on that mostly by myself, just because the shape is much more difficult to smooth out and get right than the bow, where it's more of just curves that more naturally go to the bottom of the ship. But that took probably 3.5 months to do the stern, and the stern actually turned out so much better than the bow. I think it was a combination of having that chance to practice on the bow one time, get used to it, and then when I got to the stern, it was more I was more comfortable with what I was doing, even though it was a much more difficult shape. And so I made the decision. I talked with Matt a while on it, and I finally convinced him that we had to redo the bow. And
Yeah,
so
I
we
didn't
did.
want to.
And that took another, I would say, month.
Yeah, it was about that. Maybe a little more. No, a month sounds about right.
Yeah, because all we really had to do was the bottom where it goes from the sides to more of the bottom of the ship. That was really where most of the problems were, or I thought the problems were with the bow. And so it really just had to do with taking all those curved lines that go to the bottom and then just adjusting those, making those better than they were before. And that's when Matt was talking about using Illustrator. That's how we got that done in a professional way.
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
the plans we use a combination of different plans. For the base GA plans, I would recommend going to Titanic Encyclopedia. They have a full copy of from tank top, lower orlop, and then all the way up to boat deck. And those have been extremely useful. Those are what I used for the majority of the planning for the hull. And that's what we're using for the majority of the interior, just getting the basic room layouts and all where the walls go. That's what we use. And for other plans, we use a combination of ones from Titanic the Ship Magnificent when we need to scan plans from there, or we use plans that Pepsi has a whole collection of things that have been.
Oh my
a huge
God, does
collection
Pepsi
of
have?
plants and other things.
I'm talking about like zip folders full of zip folders full of zip folders of information, and each one could be its own probably printed copy. I don't know where he found it, but that's been
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
priceless in being able to get all these little details that I wouldn't know where to find the information otherwise.
Mr. D, were you gonna say something?
Um, Not too much actually, because the plans that I use are mainly from the Titanic, the ship Magnificent, but also from other sources, like for example, forums about Titanic, Encyclopedia Titanica, and other places such as books about marine engineering and things like that.
That's a good point. Not everything we've used has come strictly from Titanic sources. A lot of information that is more difficult to come by and much more specific. Sometimes we won't have plans that are exact to Titanic, but we'll find stuff that's more general engineering from the time to get an idea of how things work together. Pepsi and Mr. D have had a lot more time with those plans, and they've needed to rely on those much more than me and Matt, but it's something that we all rely on.
Are we getting closer to setting up the video, hopefully? ZB?
I'm still working on it, unfortunately.
Odd. All right. Well, we still have some more questions to go, so that's not a bad thing. Let's see. Logical Gopher Productions asks us, how far is the exterior complete in terms of details such as vents, cables, windows, etc.? Right now, it's basically just a hull and nothing more. It is
Yep.
literally just like the blocks there. We have like we're using nether brick right now to like mark where things are gonna go, and then I think we have a couple vents already
We
down.
do. We've gotten the water pipes in successfully that drain out of the ship. Those are all in the correct positions on the starboard and port side of the hull. And then we've also marked where the other vents are going soon. So those have been added. But as far as everything on boat deck and on A deck and windows and portholes, all of that's
we
yet to be added. Oh,
we
and we
actually
also have coal
do have.
doors.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, you have a corridors.
We actually do have some windows. That was mostly just kind of when we were putting in the pardon me, the third class
First
dining
class
salon
dining saloon.
to kind of see what
Yeah.
that's going to look like. We decided to put the windows in there. But really, that's not much. So you really can't count that as anything. All right. Next, Keanu Dobo again is asking us what motivated this project to begin, and how do you manage to commit to it? Because in all seriousness, I could not commit to a project like that. I'll answer this and let ZB kind of work on getting this video up.
Yeah, I think I've almost got it working.
Great. Let's see. What did motivate us? Well, for those of you, I don't know if anyone's watching us who is subscribed to ZBLDS, but he has started working on a Titanic a very, very long time ago, back in 2011, I believe it is. And that's how I came to meet ZBLDS through this project, and I decided to help him. And eventually, we decided to start over from that when he was building, and we started completely over. And then after a while, I got busy, and he decided to just not. We decided not to continue that. And then during our hiatus, he decided to trace up a 4-to-1 Titanic, the side view, and I'm like, oh geez, that's huge. And then I'm like, do you want to try this? He's like, yeah, let's do this. And I'm like, all right. We just kind of went for it, and that's when we kind of asked around, and we actually put out an application video at one point to kind of get other people. Unfortunately, not too many people had responded to us, but that's kind of that's more of a history behind. But motivating us, let me answer your question. I guess to see a Titanic in a Minecraft Titanic in such a detail and accuracy, because as far as we know, there is no other Minecraft Titanic that has the amount of detail that we have, I believe. I know there are quite a few out there. There's a couple Russian projects, but we have, in terms of detail, I want to say the most. I don't want to sound like I'm gloating because that's exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, I think I've spent a lot of time on his question. We should move on to the next one. Well, Zach is asking us about if we installed the grand staircase. We did not. I think we answered that one already. And if there's going to be a world save, there will be in the future. Yes.
Yes.
Jeremy O'Brien asks us, how many people total are working on the project? There's the four of us mainly. Going to be, me, ZBLDS, Mr. D, and Pepsi, and we have a couple other people that are helping us on the side, being Essa and
The blank canvas.
The blank canvas. Thank you. I couldn't remember his name for a second there. They're really helping us just on this project. Unfortunately, right now they haven't really gotten to do too much. But hopefully, once we start getting the more like details and not like cargo areas, they'll be able to do a lot more.
I think
work. So
most
there's
people are
that.
looking for, at least a lot of the members on the team that haven't had a chance really to do much yet. They've been working on their own kind of things at the moment. They've been preparing areas like the first class areas and working out what we can expect from doing interiors. So as soon as we get to third class areas, we will begin to rely on them to do a lot of the work in terms of filling third class spaces, crew areas, more of
Yeah.
the interior areas you would expect to have and expect to search through on a Titanic.
Okay, so looks like we're out of questions, but that's good, just in time. Looks like ZB has the video up.
Yeah, I do.
All right. So,
Hopefully everyone can see this so far.
all right, where are you? I'm gonna see if I can TP myself to you, ZB.
Yep.
If you don't mind, ZLogical Gopher Productions asked, have you used or plan to use a lot of mods accommodate various aspects, or will you be purely be using vanilla? No, we are using a vanilla version of Minecraft.
Yes.
No mods.
No mods, no texture packs, and that's kind of been my mentality going through the project is we want something that is very easy for anyone to download and not require any mods or anything once it's done to be able to explore the ship. And that includes texture packs. So everything that you see in the videos, everything that we're able to do, which we'll showcase in this update now in just a moment, this will all be stuff you'll be able to do by just downloading the map itself.
Yeah. We didn't
Yeah.
want to have to people to get extra things just to view this map because I've seen other Titanics that require something extra.
Mhm.
ZB, I think you're either invisible or in
I might be in
game mode
3.
3.
There we go.
There you are. Now I see you. All right. So we can get on with showing off. What do we want to show first? Do you want to go to the bow and kind of show what we have there?
Yeah, let's
I
go to the bow.
suppose. All right.
Speed up here.
Zoom.
Some of my favorite things so far we've recently completed in the bow, just because it's really starting to give us a sense of what the interior, what we can expect from it, and I've been impressed by how authentic it looks. So here we are, and we have a lot of, I know the live stream, we'll get used to this when we live stream more, the delay between the chat and the video itself. But hopefully for most of you the delay isn't too bad and you can see that we've made it to the cargo areas up front. And we've actually started to add the cargo. And one of the unique things that, again, we weren't really sure if we wanted to do at the beginning, but we've decided on it just because we've decided to go all the way with accuracy and realism, is to take the Titanic cargo manifest and use that as the basis for filling the cargo room. So everything that's in the ship, every box, everything that's in the box, as far as the manifest is concerned, which was recovered, has the correct names, has the correct amount, as close
Well,
as we can get, in terms of proportions of cargo, because the boxes are slightly overscaled, and then what's inside them, everything that was shipped on the Titanic, it will be included in one of the cargo rooms. So you can go up to a box and you can see that it has someone's name, like American Express Company, and you could check the manifest, and you would open the box and you would see like, oh, they're shipping a typewriter or something, or shipping, vegetables in a refrigerated area, and you'd be able to open the box and you'd be able to find the box where they're shipping vegetables.
except for those times when it says that American Express Company is shipping products or merchandise,
Right,
which
and
is
they're
so
not
generic and
specific.
annoying. So we end up just filling with things that we think you'd find at, like, I don't know, a Macy's.
Hmm.
Just
So here's one of
it
our
says
more completed rooms. These guys, I think, right in Graham Company. What exactly are they shipping? Oh, they're shipping tea. That's right.
Oh yes,
That's
400 boxes of tea. I forgot about that. We have a question.
Yep.
Zoological Gopher Productions is asking us, so without textures, how do you plan to add things such as the clock on the grand staircase of the and the wheel on the bridge?
That's a great question, and we'll be able to answer that when we get to the stern.
Yes, because there are things that may not appear to be vanilla that are vanilla,
But technically are.
and we've
And we
tested
use
this and it will work in
technically
single
very
player
loosely, but it is vanilla,
vanilla.
thanks to Minecraft's more recent updates.
Yes. Do we want to show off? Oh, this is actually the wrong.
This is the most forward one. Down here we have a lot of potato sacks. Very
Oh
exciting.
yes.
There's the 2 spiral staircases.
We can come back here,
Mhm.
and you'll see we have another cargo room.
Yep, mostly
You
empty
see
at the
it.
moment. Oh, the
There's
car.
a car right there, but this is overscaled, I believe, or underscaled.
Underscaled.
This one's underscaled. We have another
We have a
version.
new
We got
one that I built, which is a little bit better, and it'll be put in here soon.
And before we go down, Jeremy O'Brien says he loves the buttons, and he asks us, or he says they represent rivets, right?
Yes.
You are correct.
Yeah, they are.
Represent rivets. So we're gonna go down, and some of you may be shocked as we go down here. There's a very
as well well, I know I was when I first witnessed what the changes had been made, because originally we had another level of lower Orlop cargo spacing right above the tank top level, but Mr. D made this catch, and he read through Titanic Ship Magnificent and found out, based on the evidence that's given in the book and the descriptions of these areas, that it's actually in this specific area, tank top and the behind this bulkhead as well, it's the same way. There's actually a much larger ceiling, and that the fireman's passage is actually rounded. It has an arched roof. So this was the result.
Yeah, very interesting to find that out.
Mhm.
I was kind of skeptical at first because I'm like, no, there's no way. Because I look at all these, side views and they all show, another deck. But it's very deceiving because when you look at the side view, what appears to be another deck is actually the ceiling of the fireman's passage and not a deck.
Yes.
Because keep in mind, it's a side view and you're looking at a straight cutaway.
One thing that I want to notice is that when you will take a look at the Bruce Beveridge plans of the tank top deck, you can see that the cargo space around the number 2 and number 3 cargo hatches is actually wider than the rest of the ship.
Yes. So when you see things on tank top and you see the cargo hatch and it basically intersects the fireman's passage, if you didn't have the information or you hadn't read Ship Magnificent, you might be confused as to what exactly or how it's possible, because you think, well, is the cargo hatch also over the fireman's passage? Is it accessible in the fireman's passage? But actually, once you put it all together, it's not intuitive, but this is the result, and it makes a lot of sense because the one hatch accesses both sides of the fireman's passage on either side, but it still allows the fireman's passage itself on tank top to be enclosed.
Sour Boy, who I believe is new, welcome Sour Boy.
Welcome to the stream.
Asks us, how in the world do you guys build this? I'm not sure if it's a question, rhetorical, but
with blocks.
with blocks.
This is the best answer of this question.
But
and
seriously,
you could too if you had these 2 very valuable resources. 1, a copy of Minecraft, and 2, a lot of time.
Yeah.
And dedication.
Especially time.
Time being the determining factor in all of this.
And a team also would help, so it's not just you. Because with a team, you get like other people's input. This is the mail room.
Yes,
so this is our very first non-cargo space, and CB and I were ecstatic to build this after doing lots of cargo. I don't know, you want to say anything about this?
Yeah, this is the first area that we actually we consider officially finished on the ship.
Oh, yeah.
You can go to the refrigerated cargoes, which we'll go to in a minute. Once we're done with this area, you can go to the cargo spaces forward of us, but neither one of those areas is technically done. And so this is what you're looking at, the very first area on the ship that when you go to will look exactly like this. And it's got a few interesting things. It's got the mail bags, it's got postage and papers on the desk. One of the things we're trying to do is set up Titanic. Not only we're not trying to just furnish it, but we're also trying to do things in a way that would be correct to the time that we're trying to build the ship. So if you can imagine this whole world as a overscaled diorama, you can imagine the time that would be on the plaque. And at that time, everything's frozen. And so we're trying to imagine where workers would be, where the crew would be, what they would be doing, what areas would need to be lit, what areas would need to be look like they're in progress being worked on. And so the postage area would definitely be one of those areas. And so when
Yeah.
you go into the ship and you see lights that are on, you know these are areas that workers were most likely working in and doing things at that time. When you see lights that are off, for the most part, you know it's areas that either would be off at that time or you need to turn on yourself. And so that's a good segue into one of the features on the ship, which we have, which is workable lights on the ceilings. So as you can see right now,
That actually goes into, I can see someone I know back out and join. Hello there. He's actually telling us to show that off. So why don't we go ahead and show that?
yeah, so you can come to panels like this in crew areas like this and third class areas for the most part. It's going to be signified by the iron and then the button itself with the item frame. And then in first class areas where it's more gold and fancy, it'll be a gold one. But you hit the button and off go the lights.
It doesn't look that dark. That's two reasons. One, we have open spaces, so sunlight is pouring in. Also, we have some other lights that stay on. We figured there's probably emergency lights in here that would always be on. This is a crew area. So only the lights on the ceiling go off. But once we cover the actually put the next deck on probably.
This
You'll
is
see.
a nice comment from Brady Lookback. So everybody's Titanic is wrong because of our lob deck. Now I need to change my Titanic.
Yeah, pretty much. Even my Titanic is wrong. Pretty much.
Well, my also is wrong. It is actually rocky a lot of spaces.
Yeah. We actually missed a question. Zoological Gopher Productions asks us, why did you decide on a scale of 4-1 rather than say 2-1?
Because it allows us to make details that are not possible in other scales.
And
Yeah.
It is
4-1
also the
specifically,
biggest.
rather than 5-1. You're probably saying the same thing as I am, Mr. D. Rather than do 5-1, which I would prefer to do because 5 is a nicer number. 5-1, Minecraft's height limit limits us to how large we can go without cutting off too much. In 4-1, we're just cutting off a bit of the forward and aft mass, but luckily that's all that really happens, whereas in 5-1, it would become too extreme. Things would start to look odd. So 4-1 for us was the best balance between as big as we can go while keeping the exterior looking as natural as we can.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was going to say, because 4-1 is actually the last and the biggest scale that you are able to go with on vanilla Minecraft already.
Exactly. So here's another room where the lights are toggleable. And this is a great thing too, because on all other Minecraft Titanics up to this point, when it's nighttime or when you're viewing the ship, you'll see through the windows and the portholes and everything will be lit up like a Christmas tree. And that's kind of unrealistic to how it actually was. So when you download the map or you download the ocean map and you observe the Titanic at night, you'll be able to see a lot of the rooms that are on and a lot of the rooms that are off. And it'll give a much more realistic impression of the lighting on the ship itself and how it would appear at certain times of day and night.
Yeah, one thing that I would like to mention in terms of lights at the nighttime. The view of the ship in Titanic by James Cameron at the nighttime, this is not actually how the Titanic would look like at night, because you need to remember that at that times the lights were much dimmer and were not such powerful as the lights that we have now.
Exactly.
And that dimness is reflecting in our. We're trying to reflect that in our cargo rooms. As you can see, it doesn't look very bright. That's because we're trying to show off that it wasn't very bright in the real ship. So we probably honestly have less lights than we should, but we're sacrificing those lights for a more realistic feel.
Yep. And
that, which-
another thing about the James Cameron movie that gives a false impression is when you see it at night, it almost looks like the whole ship has been occupied by passengers and crew.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas on the real ship, there was only about a third of the total occupancy that Titanic could actually hold. And so on our ship, what we're planning is every room that, as far as we know, housed a passenger, we will have those lights on in respect of them and kind of in honor of them. And so when you go outside on the ship, you'll see the rooms that are on, the rooms that are off, and it'll just give you an idea of where people were actually staying, where the passengers were, where the crew was, and it should be pretty interesting to explore the ship that way, and while keeping that in mind.
Logical Gopher Productions is following up on our answer before, and he says, "But would you rather? But would you not rather have it scaled according to Minecraft characters to allow players to get a better feel walking around the ship?"
I think the closest scale you could do for that is 2:1. That's probably the closest for Minecraft characters, because in Minecraft, the player that you're using, he's very fat.
He's basically a meter wide.
Yeah.
Which is really fat.
And so every wall you do also has to be a meter wide. Every, door and every piece of furniture is large. So when you explore the ship and you kind of go around it, I would say flying at the height level I am right now will give you the best impression of what it would actually be like to walk around the ship. And there are mods you could download to increase your character size.
Yeah.
And walk around that way if you so choose, so you don't have to worry about flying so often.
So that room we were just in was first class luggage, baggage. That was annoying because unlike cargo, each baggage had to kind of be unique. That was very time consuming.
Yeah, every bag and every briefcase and box.
Oh, and there's
chest.
If we could fit something inside of it, we did put something. We tried putting something.
There'll be like clothes and little chests with little trinkets and things that would be used by passengers. We tried to do the best we could.
Yeah. Over here, we have to break into it because this is the Spécier room.
Oh yeah.
Which
for those go into game mode 3.
There you go. For those of you who don't know what Spécier is, it's kind of like gold and valuables. I probably like diamonds and stuff. So as you can see in there, we have a lot of. I forgot what we put in there actually. If I can, I'm just gonna break into it. Yes, we have some gold bars here, as you can see, and then we have another crate here filled with. I
think coins, right?
Stuff. Yeah, we did coins. That's right. That's what we put in here. So
here's like gold bars, and here's currency.
And something interesting we found out about this room is that right here,
crew from possibly stealing gold bars and stuff and kind of taking them for themselves, they would actually use passengers' luggage and board up the door so that no one could access it throughout the voyage.
I mean, yeah, they probably could have moved it, but they did it just kind of make it like that much more work and not worth it. Because by the time maybe the person had moved the luggage, another person or their manager would see them. So that was kind of the idea.
Yep.
Not exactly foolproof, but
it was an attempt.
Yeah.
To deter crime.
Let's see, back to the chat here.
Any questions?
Essa says hi. Hey, Essa.
Hey.
Yes, actually, Zoological Gopher again asks us, would that room be classed as a vault or just a sealed room? He's referring to the Spécier.
I would classify it as just a sealed room because a vault would indicate that there's locks on the doors, and there was no such thing. That's why they had to board it up with baggage.
And Essa is asking us, did the passengers own these gold bars? We're not actually sure. The book doesn't say that. It could be either passengers. It probably was a combination of passengers' gold bars that, maybe they're transporting it,
Or treasury.
or a treasury, like maybe, I don't know, or a company is like, oh, we have this gold, let's ship it over to our sister company or whatever. I'm just throwing an example out there in America.
Yep. And those
So
two
it was,
rooms are really an indicator of how unique Titanic was because the title RMS, Royal Mail Steamer, was only given to specific ships that were tasked with the goal of transporting mail from the UK to the
Yeah.
United States and vice versa. So any
Okay.
ship that didn't have the title of RMS could not transport mail in such a way for the official postal carriers and wouldn't have the facilities on board for such a thing.
All right, so we're flying back here, and I'm sure a bunch of you are wondering why we're skipping some of these things. Because we're going to show off Orlop deck for now, and we'll show other things later on. We don't want to spoil too much here. We want to keep you guys interested a little bit. So basically, everything else on Orlop deck from the mailroom in between here and here is just open space for the boilers.
And here we get to probably the largest area of most completeness. The reason why I say this area isn't technically complete yet is because in these hallways here, there's supposed to be refrigeration pipes that go across the ceiling and into the rooms that are being refrigerated.
Yes.
And we don't have those yet.
Yeah, we will. Once we build the refrigerating machines and engines, once we kind of figure out where those are going to connect in, then we'll kind of move all those and arrange it. Now, we don't have, unfortunately, a plan for the brine pipes in these rooms for Titanic and Olympic do not exist, or at least that we know of.
But we did have similar plans for similar rooms on Aquitania.
Yep.
No. Oh, it was? Oh, okay. I thought it was
Yeah,
Oceania.
they are in Titanic, the ship on deficit.
Yes.
Yes.
And so that was the basis for what you will see on the walls and ceilings.
Yeah. And we just kind of used our own plan, kind of, because it's Minecraft and we have to kind of make a couple decisions as to how we build certain things. So I guess we'll go into the wines and spirits. We can kind of show off a couple things. I know that's...
And this is going to be in part answering the question before about how we're going to do things like the clock and
actually,
wheel.
Yeah. If you notice,
So
there's
we'll
a
turn on
pressure
the lights.
plate.
Oh yeah, for doors and stuff, the pressure plates take you between rooms for rooms that would be closed. But for public spaces where there's a lot of traffic, the doors will be open for ease of access. But for passenger rooms, crew rooms, and rooms like this, the doors are closed. So you just have to go through the pressure plate.
So, as you guys may notice already,
these there are tiny blocks.
Tiny blocks
are Minecraft heads.
Yes, we did not know this, and we actually, Mr. D and Pepsi had done this on their Neptune.
Yep.
And when we first saw this, I was like, how in the heck do you do that? Because that was ridiculous. And we looked it up, and sure enough, apparently, heads act as data within the world itself. So it's not a multiplayer thing. Like when you have someone's head, the data somehow goes into the world file, the world save. So if I were to, and I took this world and I put it into single player world and I saw exactly what you see here. So fear not, you can play this in single player and still see this. We made sure of that.
And we're going to try to be abusing these as much as we can through the ship.
Yeah, once we saw this, we're like, oh man, we got to try and use this. But since they're little blocks and they're always on the center, we have to kind of, it's not as, great.
It's not as all-powerful as you might imagine, but it allows us to do things like the wine bottle tops and scotch and brandy tops.
And door handles.
And door handles, yep. That's, if we come back out here after we turn off the light.
Also, those lights there, those, if you're curious about those, they are custom maps, which we use a program called Image to Map, where you can take an image and turn it into a Minecraft map, and just like the player heads, it is saved into the world save data itself.
So here's the door handle, which is just a head.
let's see.
Oh, I forgot to show it off, but we'll show it off when we go back. We won't go through all these rooms, but just kind of take a brief tour through them.
I'm gonna head back to the chat while ZBLDS is kind of going to the tour,
Yep.
showing off this room.
So
Zoological
I'll
Gopher
bring them
Productions.
over to the thawing room.
Sure.
And show off. So the fences here, these are representing the cooling pipes on the sides of the walls. For rooms like this, especially, it was necessary, and in the east and westbound beef, it was required that there would be even cooling temperatures all around the meat itself, so that way you didn't end up with ice or anything that would hurt the meat in terms of quality. And then
Yeah.
we don't have it on the ceiling, but when I go in the eastbound beef room and the westbound beef room, I'll show those off. We also have over here, we have pipes on the ceiling themselves using upside down stairs, and those are pipes for the ceiling. And then these
Before you, sorry.
slabs on the top of the roof, these are meat rails, and then as you can see, we have tons of beef hanging from them.
Before we go into any of the rooms, Zoological Gopher is asking us,
Mhm.
where did everyone's interest on the team come from for the Titanic?
Go first.
I think, do you want to hold off on this and show off the all the rooms first, and we'll kind of finish this area off, and then we'll answer that?
Sure.
All right, so where did
So
you, let's see.
eastbound beef. And if you're wondering why this room is empty, they use these two separate rooms for depending on the crossing. So if they were
Yeah.
going west, they would be using the westbound beef room. If they were going east, they would be going the eastbound beef room. And that's just to keep a level of sanitation so that probably during the westbound passage, they would be draining and cleaning the eastbound beef while keeping it empty, trying to keep things from cross-contaminating when going from different international borders.
Yeah. The book actually says something, it doesn't get very specific. It just says something about sanitation reasons at the time. So I don't understand that entirely. So it may just be a concern that they had then that nowadays it's not a concern. But we filled it. We just filled it with the westbound beef because that's where it was going. All right. So we finished mostly that area. So do you want to answer the zoological
Yeah, let's answer it.
Gophers? All right. Who wants to start?
I guess I will.
Go for it.
My interest in Titanic generally, that's the question, right?
Yeah. Try to be a little brief on this. We want to get to other people's questions.
Yeah. My interest in Titanic just kind of comes from reading books for the most part when I was a lot younger in school. My favorite books to read and look at pictures would be like Ken Marshall's Inside Titanic, Story of the Titanic, books where I could learn about the ship not only, but then also kind of delve into the ship itself, kind of get to see what it would be like for passengers. Those are the ones that really captured my attention. And so then, as a consequence of that, I also got really interested in the movie because for the first time, I could kind of see the ship as it was in real life, as close as there was at the time. And that's how I got interested.
I guess I'll go next, I suppose. My interest started. Gee, I can't even remember. It's been such a long time. As far as I remember, I've always been interested in it. But I would say it was the movie that really captured my attention. Mostly the sinking, because for those of you who don't know, the sinking of Titanic, the way it sank was very unusual. Ships almost never sink in the manner that Titanic did. They almost always capsize. But because Titanic had the watertight doors, it sank. For the sake of an argument, it sank bow down and stern up. There was a list, yes, but it would pretty much did what you see in the movie, and I found that very fascinating. And just the whole breakup and the mystery of the breakup has always really captured my attention. And I actually neat little thing here. I know, for those of you who don't know, Charles A. Haas, he is the author of a book, Titanic, Triumph and Tragedy, I believe. He is also the president of the Titanic Honor Society. I actually met him in person. He was actually my mother's English teacher in high school. So I got to personally meet him. My brother and I both met him in person in like a private session, which was really cool. And meeting him really had gotten me into Titanic a lot. I've been speaking a lot. So, Mr. D, why don't you go ahead?
Well, my interest in Titanic is mainly came from Cameron movie. It started in around 1999 because then this is the first time when I saw this movie. And basically, this was the beginning. My interest lasts for something around 3 or 4 years before I just moved into another point of my interest. So I forget about it for a few years, but it actually, how to say this, explode for another time in 2012 when James Cameron released his 2012 National Geographic show, The Last Word. So this was the point when I started to interest in Titanic for a much serious way, and it continues to now.
There you go. Sounds
That's
like most of
three
it
of
was
us.
the movie.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we don't
Mostly
know.
because of the movie, that's true.
Yeah. I honestly, I think a lot of people. That's kind of where a lot of people's interest in Titanic spawned from. At least younger people. I shouldn't. I should say a lot of younger people probably were introduced by the movie. ZBs actually.
Yeah, I've
Why
just
don't we?
been kind of flying around and showing people
That's
the
fine.
refrigerated cargo areas.
Yeah.
And a little fact here is all these little bundles on the ground that you see, those are all bundles of cheese. It turns out Titanic, based on the manifest, was shipping quite a lot of it, so
Yeah,
that's what all this is.
there must have been like 10 to 15 different companies shipping cheese.
Yeah.
Like we would be scrolling down, and be like, oh, cheese, cheese, cheese. At one point, there was like
Well, yeah,
five
we got to one
companies
point on
in
the
a row.
manifest, and in a row, it was just all cheese that needs to be
Cheese.
refrigerated.
It was crazy.
Yep.
There's a phone.
Yeah, that's mine, so hold on.
Just ignore that. Let's see. We've again, just like regular cargo, everything's filled in here, and we were actually surprised when we first started this. We thought there would be less. We thought we'd have a lot of space open, but once we saw how much cheese, we realized that we'd have to kind of we might not have enough space here. But we were able to fit most of it in here. We even had to squeeze some into this smaller area in the front here. Let's see.
Yep.
Was there anything? Oh, you mentioned the flowers.
Oh, yeah, I could mention that. So there's people who are shipping flowers which need to be refrigerated, and that's where these people come in, like Maltus and Ware. They're shipping orchids, and so we have actual. Nope, that's gonna be dirt. There we go. Blue orchid. That's as close as we can get. But then also I've been reading a book on a sea of glass, and it goes into a really good detail about a lot of things. I actually learned a lot that I wouldn't expect I would have. That would have been useful for building in the ship. But one of the things that we did learn from the book on a Sea of Glass is that since Titanic was just being finished up, still just recently painted, paint was literally drying on the walls as passengers entered from Southampton on the dock. They actually had stored and had put out tons and tons of flowers to mask the smell of drying paint. And so in the refrigeration cargo holds, it described that they had stored tons and tons of flowers that they could put out throughout the voyage to replace the ones that they already had out in the public spaces. a lot of passengers described that the first impression of the ship that they had was the smell, and specifically that smell was flowers trying to mask the smell of drying paint.
And I think people would much rather smell flowers than paint.
Yeah.
I know I would. Let's see. ZBS is a question for you. It
Okay.
says, can you do a live stream on planes?
Yeah, probably. If people want to see it. Live stream on planes would probably just be me building as far as one of them.
Yeah, it wouldn't really be us.
But I could ask questions. You guys could ask questions there too, because I know a lot of you a lot of times have questions, and I try to do the best I can answering them in the comments once the video is up. But that'd be a good time to hang out with you guys. So probably, yeah.
Another question here for you and me.
Okay.
When the ship is completed, will Deadkoalas and ZBLDS do the second season of Titanic Inspectors?
Sure. Once the ship is finished.
Sure. Once the ship is finished,
Once we have nothing else to do, we will get back to that.
We'll get back to Titanic Inspectors. Let's before we answer some more questions, let's move on. Actually, mostly it for this. The only thing that we have back here further is the
recently
cargo space
put up cargo area.
Yeah, which we haven't filled yet. Like we literally finished this, and then the next, like this is our second time we've been on after finishing this. So we haven't gotten a chance to fill this with cargo yet, but we're gonna basically pull out the manifest and
start
filling
the different rooms. Because at this point, we kind of have everything in the places that we're semi-confident where it's supposed to go, but from now on, we're just going to go through the manifest and fill in things in cargo rooms.
Yep.
And that's it.
We have some small areas back here. This is a store, I believe, and a escape, and then this is just a peak tank, which we'll have to do. But this is like the last thing we'll do on Warlop deck.
Yep.
Move on to the next one. You can probably do some more questions, and see if Mr. D has anything he wants to show off. Essa asks if they watered the flowers.
I would imagine probably, if at all, very little, just because they are being refrigerated to keep them fresh. I would guess that's why they put them in refrigerated cargo.
They might have. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm sure they did with the ones that were in the pots already on display.
Oh, definitely.
But that's a good question. I'm not sure, actually.
Oh, this is a new person. Rye1459. Welcome. If you're watching us, just joined us. Will you guys eventually move to 1.10?
Yeah, we
like
will.
To.
As soon as all the plugins are up to date.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. We have quite a few. I wouldn't say quite a few. But enough plugins that we really have to wait for it to for all those to kind of up to date. Also, I'm not. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and there's really no rush to update to 1.10. We're skipping 1.9. If there was anything really urgent, like a really interesting block that we know for certain, like we can use right now, and we want to get it in the ship, we would update and be more urgent about it. But 1.10 hasn't really been all too interesting. So until everything's up to date, we won't be updating, but we will in the future.
All right. This actually is going to segue right into Mr. D. Back out and join says, how far along is all the machinery? I remember there was no electric engines when he saw it. So, Mr. D, would you care to explain how far along the machinery is?
Well, we are currently in a process of finishing the pumps in reciprocating in turbine room, as well as applying steam and water pipes in those spaces, as well as we are currently in the process of completely rebuilding the boiler rooms, because since we have made the first version of those rooms, basically a lot of things that have surfaced since we made them, so we need to completely redo them. But what I would like to say, the steering engines are not currently in the mindset of being built because we have not yet got that far.
So we're basically mostly just haven't gotten that far yet for the steering. We still have quite a bit to go. I mean, we still honestly that whole steering mechanism for the rudder at the top. That's not until we get up to C deck, I believe. So we still have quite a ways to go, and there's a lot of other stuff we have to finish.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see
Then
here.
I think we have a video. A question, I'm sorry, from KTMVT2. How long do you think it will take to finish the ship? We answered this question a little bit ago, but we can answer it again just briefly for anyone who's in here now. The ship has so far we're about almost 2 years in, a little over a year and a half into the project, and we're so close to, I want to say, finishing with ellipses, because it's going to take a long time to have everything exactly finalized. But
just
for now, we're almost done with all of tank top and the structural stuff going through tank top to G deck. The hull is done. All of the really slow things that take a lot of time to make sure you have to have just right before you can start other areas is almost done, like cargo, which we almost have done as well. So I would say it's going to probably take another 2 to 3 years to finish the ship in total.
So yes, but when it does release, look forward to it. Yes, I was going to mention your video cut out.
Yeah.
Did you do that on purpose? Did you hit a button?
It should be up now.
Oh, well, there'll be a 30-second delay. Yes, for those of you who are unfamiliar with YouTube live streams, there is a 30-second delay, which is why it's kind of taken us a bit to answer questions. Although I feel like most of you probably know that already. Was that the last question? That is up right there. Oh no. Prene Titanic. You seem to be new here, at least not from what I see. Welcome. He asks, would you guys like to say on the Titanic 2 in real life? Yes, actually, I would. Just to see what they did, most because of how much I know. I want to see what they changed. I mean, I know they're going to change a lot, but I'm curious to see how much they changed and how much they stuck to the real thing. Well, to the how authentic they got.
One thing that I would like to notice about Titanic 2 is that Titanic 2 cannot sail. It simply cannot, because no matter how realistic and historically accurate this replica will not be Titanic until it will sink its final.
Yeah, I would say I would be interested in sailing on it at least once if it ever gets done. I have my doubts whether or not it would ever be completed. We haven't really heard any recent news about it, which makes me worried. But I will also say that I have my own ideas about what would be a better project in terms of recreating Titanic, but that's for another time.
Oh, I apologize. Prane Titanic. Franny Titanic? I didn't mean to mispronounce your name. Are we having technical difficulties again there, ZB?
Is the logo not back up?
Well, it says you're not logged into the server, so... Or did you join back and I just didn't notice?
Oh, well, I left the server. Okay.
Oh,
it seems like
you
the
did that on
logo's back up.
purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. You did that on purpose. All right, I wasn't sure if that was a mistake. All right.
We're just answering a few more questions, if anyone has any.
Yeah. Because that's mostly it. I mean, was there anything else we wanted to show off? Mr. D, is there anything you wanted to show? Or...
Not really.
Okay.
No?
We'll save that for another time.
All right, so that was a pretty decent show. I mean, I guess we could show them the lighting mechanism if we want, but maybe that'd be another time too.
I'll keep that a secret for now.
We'll keep that a secret. That's gonna be our trademark,
Mm-hmm.
except not really.
No, I can show it off sometime in the future, maybe for another update video.
All right. So how long? How long has this been going on? About an hour, I want to
About
say,
an
maybe a
hour and
little more
15
than that.
minutes. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Um, let's see. Do we want to continue on doing anything else, or we want to try
Uh,
to?
ZLogical Gopher actually asked another question,
Oh, he
and he
did.
said, "Will we start adding video updates more often?" I will try to. That actually really goes along with the questions about how long it will take until the ship is finished. Kind of in my answer there, I mentioned that once we get done with cargo, things will happen a lot faster because the passenger spaces, the crew spaces, all of those rooms are basically copy paste a lot of the time. And so things that we'd like to show in video updates up until this point, a lot of stuff has taken a lot of time, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff that's taken a lot of time isn't really worthy of a update video itself. It's not as interesting to just show on its own. So it's taken us a while to get enough for an actual update video that would be interesting for the viewers to watch. But in the future, now that we're almost done with these areas, I can expect update videos to happen a lot on a more frequent basis because it hasn't been that I haven't had time to do update videos. It's just that I haven't felt like there's been enough content to justify doing one.
Right. Like it's not worth doing like a cargo room. Be like, look, guys, here's a cargo room, and that's it. It'd be like
Hmm.
a 5-minute video. It's not worth it.
Like, here's the boilers again. Here's the
Yeah.
engines again. They look slightly more complete. Kind of stuff like that.
And they'll be added to ZBLDS's channel.
Yep.
Is a logical Gopher ask that again.
Essa says we could show them the first class spaces that he's built.
Uh,
Not yet.
not yet. We're gonna keep that a secret too, because those are the spaces that everyone wants to see, I'm sure.
Hmm.
So we'll say that this is mostly just for Lop Deck, and kind of what we a lot of what we finished since the last update video, which was just the hull.
But unless anyone has any more questions, we might do our sign-offs.
Yeah, we'll want to stick around for a couple more minutes because there's a
Yeah, I
30-second
can.
delay. So we'll
I'm
stick around a
just
little bit
waiting.
longer and wait to see if anyone else has any more questions on that. We'll sign off. And I guess also with the update videos, we want to try and do more live streams because this is actually, honestly, I'm enjoying this quite a lot.
Yeah,
We're
the
getting a
live
lot
streams are
more.
definitely something that we want to do in the future. I forgot to put that in my answer, actually. So you can actually answer the rest since you remember that, Matt.
Wait, what?
About live streams going along with update videos.
Oh, yeah. Since these live streams are archived on ZBLDS's channel, we can probably do like the live stream as an update. Like the live stream will be the update video. So like we're not going to do an update video showing the same thing we have here because people can just watch the live stream and get the same information. There's no point in doing the same thing twice. So that's what we want to try and do. And we're going to probably still have regular update videos if maybe we just can't schedule a live stream because unfortunately my schedule kind of prevents us from doing live streams kind of often. But we're going to try our best, even if it's just me and ZB having
And
to do
live
it just to get
streams
out there.
also give us an opportunity to have more content for you guys without actually needing to have as much done. So we might do a live stream, but we might be just working on things, not necessarily showing off things. But it gives you guys a chance to ask more questions or kind of see the right then and there now progress of the ship,
Yeah.
as opposed to
Uh,
waiting 6 months.
So we got some more questions. What is the best book for Titanic information? Well, that's easy. That would be Titanic: The Ship Magnificent by multiple authors. Bruce Beveridge, someone named Andrews Hall. I can't really read the name. Books are on my shelf. I can't really read them.
Cliff
But
Storner.
yeah, that is probably the best book that you can find because there's 2 volumes. If you can get both volumes, that will give you will be the best. Because one is the basically X tier and basically machinery stuff. So Mr. G looks in that book a lot, which is the volume 1. And then volume 2 is labeled fitting out. So that's going to have a lot of information about rooms and
Furniture and
furniture.
interiors, yeah.
But both those are very valuable resources that we use. So if we have a question about Titanic, first thing we say is look at the books. What does the book say?
And then the next question is it true or not that the watertight door light indicator on the bridge is real or not? It has been speculated that it did, but only on Olympic after the sinking of the Titanic.
I can ask this.
Okay.
I can answer this quickly. Well, as far as I know, the watertight door indicator panel on the bridge Titanic is not true. It was retrofitted to Olympic after the sinking of Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
So this indicator, which you can see in Cameron movie, is just,
For show.
Cinematic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably to indicate what was going on. Because, I mean, they may not have, other than that, they have to shoot that they have to kind of show that to kind of indicate, hey, look, they're closing or they're probably closing it.
Mm-hmm.
One interesting thing about this indicator is that Titanic chief engineer Joseph Bell, when he was sailing on board RMS Olympic, proposed to mount such indicating panels soon after the Olympic maiden voyage. But as we know, such panel does not exist on Titanic.
Yep. But that's not to be confused with the actual switch that closes the watertight doors.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the indicator panel that lights up when the doors are closed. And then KTM VT2 asks me a question. Not related, but what 1.5 to 1 scale plane are you going to build next? It seemed like on the previous video, people were really interested. The majority of people wanted to see Boeing 737s. So I'm going to be getting started on that in the next couple of days.
All right. Ooh, sorry there. All right, guys. Asa says, but the light indicator scene looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was cool, but not accurate. So
So does carpets going down the first class hallways, but
oh yeah, but those are not true. And those
runners.
handrails.
Mm-hmm.
Those handrails look nice, but they
It's
weren't
funny
in there.
because all that stuff is based on Lusitania and Mauritania.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I know, the corridors in the movie were built upon the Lusitania corridors.
Mm-hmm. But it looks
All right,
like
guys.
that's it. So thanks for everyone for tuning in. Sorry about it starting an hour
An
late.
hour late. Yeah, that was unexpected. We finally figured out what was wrong, and apparently just one small little thing that we just didn't type into the encoder, the software,
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't remember doing it the first time, but whatever. I'm not going to complain. I'm just glad that we got this working. I was afraid we were going to have to cancel this, and all of you guys would have been angry at us for not having a stream, and I would have had to apologize. And
Yeah,
all this
we really
stuff.
wanted to get it up. Oh, and we have 2 more questions. Actually, we have 3 more
Oh, we
questions.
do?
We'll answer those quick.
Hi.
Prene Titanic says, did the crew really stay down in the ship till the end to keep the ship upright? Yes, they did. They were working with the water tanks to keep the ship from listing too much back and forth. The engineers were working on the electric engines to keep the lights on. So they were really heroes in that regard, that they stayed down there to the end so that people up on boat deck could survive.
But
continue
actually,
their
not
cruise.
all of them, because we know from survivors' testimonies that at least a small group of 8 engineers and greasers have escaped to the boat deck and were seen on the boat deck in the later stage of the sinking.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because some of the testimony that how we know about how some of these below decks, in the boiler rooms, in the engine rooms, how all of this happened, is that either some of the firemen made it up to the boat deck, as you said, some of the engineers, and some of them luckily made it into lifeboats. So we have
And
that testimony.
actually not engineers, because all engineers died on board
Yeah.
Titanic.
Just a couple firemen, I believe.
trimmers and greasers. That's all.
Oh, just trimmers and greasers?
Some of them survived.
Okay. And then the
Alright,
next
back out and
question
join.
is black
Do you-
out and join.
That's back out and join. Do you think you'd ever think of building a large-scale ship other than Titanic in the future?
Yeah, because for Southampton we have to build
Oh yeah.
quite a few ships in 4-to-1 scale. Just the hulls themselves, we're not going to be doing interiors on them because we have no information on that. But we will be having to build at least the facades of those ships themselves. So
Yeah, we're gonna have to give the diorama.
so ships like the New
and
York and Oceanic, stuff like that.
that's gonna be fun.
And
Zoological
then-
Gopher asks, this might be the last question here.
Mhm.
Zoological Gopher Productions asks, what is each of the telemotors used for on the bridge? I know there's 5, but I don't know what each one's purpose was. Mr. D, you wanna answer this one?
Actually, my point of interest is the engine room mainly. So
okay.
I know that there are 2 main engine room telegraphs on the bridge, one emergency engine room telegraph and 2 for maneuvering. That's all.
All right. All right, guys. So I think that'll be it for now. I guess.
Thanks for tuning
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. A lot of fun. I hope we can do this again sometime.
Enjoyed the questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our answers and enjoyed the little sneak peeks into what we have working on.
And
Thanks,
hopefully
everyone.
next time we'll start on time. next
Yeah,
time.
I would like to do that next time. So keep in mind that another live stream is probably already going to be being planned in the future, right after this stream goes offline. Thanks,
Alrighty,
everyone.
guys.
See ya.
See
Yeah.
ya.